The town of Pine Hollow sat between dark hills and tall trees where winter ruled most of the year. Snow fell early and stayed late, making heat more valuable than gold. Most homes relied on old stoves that burned wood all night. People planned their lives around staying warm and saving fuel. Cold shaped habits, friendships, and even respect in the town. At the edge of Pine Hollow lived a woman named Anna in a small weathered house. She had moved there alone after years of quiet work in distant places. Anna spoke little and watched more than she talked. Many neighbors barely knew her story and did not ask. In Pine Hollow, strangers stayed strangers for a long time. Anna's house looked ordinary, except for one strange feature. Along the back wall of her living space, she began building something massive. It was wide, tall, and made of stone, brick, and dark metal. It took up almost the entire wall from floor to ceiling. People walking past slowed down and stared. The wall looked like a fireplace, but far larger than anything seen before. It had no fancy design and no glass window. It looked heavy, solid, and almost old-fashioned. Some said it looked like a fortress wall inside a home. Others joked that she was building a monument instead of a heater. When the construction continued day after day, curiosity turned into laughter. Neighbors gathered near the road, shaking their heads. They said no wall could heat a house better than a proper stove. Some said she wasted time and money for nothing. Others claimed she would regret it when the cold became harsh. Anna heard the laughter but did not respond. She kept working with calm focus, placing each stone carefully. Her hands moved with experience and patience. She worked early mornings and late evenings without complaint. The wall slowly took shape under her steady effort. Inside the house, the air smelled of stone, dust, and iron. Tools were neatly placed, and plans were drawn by hand. Anna measured everything twice before fixing anything in place. She moved with quiet confidence, as if she had done this before. No part of her work seemed rushed or careless. Old Tom from across the road stopped by one afternoon. He leaned on his cane and watched her work for a long time. Finally he asked what she was building. Anna smiled politely and said it was a heating wall. Tom laughed and said 3 stoves could not warm Pine Hollow winters. Anna nodded and thanked him for the concern. She did not explain further and returned to her work. Tom walked away, still smiling but shaking his head. Word spread fast. Winter tightened its grip on Pine Hollow as days grew shorter and nights sharper. Snowbanks rose higher along the roads and smoke curled endlessly from chimney tops. People spent more time indoors guarding their heat like treasure. Wood piles shrank faster than expected and complaints grew louder. Every family worried about making fuel last until spring. Anna continued her work even as the cold deepened. The wall inside her house was now complete in shape, though not yet alive. Thick stone layers hid channels and spaces known only to her. Iron vents rested quietly along the base and near the ceiling. To most eyes it still looked useless and oversized. To Anna it was almost ready. Neighbors kept talking, and laughter followed her name. Some called the wall foolish, and others called it stubborn pride. A few even warned her that inspectors might question such a structure. Anna listened without reacting and kept her focus. She had lived through colder winters than this one. She trusted what she had built. One morning a heavy storm struck Pine Hollow without warning. Snow fell thick and fast, driven by fierce wind. Power lines failed, and the town lost electricity before noon. Old stoves became the only defense against freezing air. Panic spread quietly as families checked their fuel stores. Some realized they did not have enough. Anna lit her wall for the first time that evening. She placed a small amount of wood into a hidden chamber and closed the iron door. The fire caught slowly and heat began to move through the stone. The wall absorbed warmth like a living thing. Within hours the entire house felt calm and steady. Unlike a stove that burned fast, the wall released heat gently. The air stayed warm without smoke or sharp changes. Anna sat near the wall reading calmly while wind howled outside. She did not add more wood that night. The stored heat carried her through till morning. Across the road, old Tom struggled to keep his stove alive. He fed it constantly, yet the room stayed cold. His hands shook as he added wood again and again. He wondered how long his supply would last. Through the window he noticed a soft glow from Anna's home. No smoke rose from her chimney. By the second day the storm still raged and power was not restored. Many homes grew colder and tempers rose. People gathered at the town hall seeking help. Wood was scarce and roads were blocked. Fear crept into voices once full of jokes. Pine Hollow felt fragile. Someone mentioned Anna's house was warm. At first others laughed and dismissed it. But then another neighbor confirmed it. Then another. Curiosity replaced mockery. Old Tom spoke up and said he had seen it himself. Silence followed his words. A small group decided to visit Anna. They walked through deep snow carrying doubt and hope together. Anna opened the door calmly and welcomed them inside. Warm air met their faces and their eyes widened. The heat felt different from stove heat. It was deep, steady, and comforting. They asked how one wall could do this. Anna explained simply that the wall stored heat and released it slowly. She spoke of stone mass air paths and patience. She said it was not about burning more wood but using it wisely. Her voice held no pride, only certainty. The visitors spread the word quickly. By evening more neighbors arrived seeking warmth and understanding. Anna shared tea and answers without judgment. She did not remind them of their laughter. She focused on helping where she could. Pine Hollow had never seen anything like it. As the storm continued, people began to listen. The fireplace wall was no longer a joke. It became a question and then a lesson. Something old and simple had outperformed modern habits. And as the town shivered together, they realized Anna knew something they had forgotten. The storm finally weakened after many hard days and Pine Hollow slowly came back to life. Roads were cleared and power lines repaired, though the memory of cold stayed fresh. People stepped outside with tired faces and quiet thoughts. The town felt changed in a way no snowstorm had done before. Conversations now carried respect instead of jokes. Anna returned to her routine without seeking attention. She cleaned her tools and repaired small cracks in the stone wall. The heating wall continued to release gentle warmth long after the fire was out. Neighbors noticed that her wood pile stayed nearly full. That simple detail spoke louder than any explanation. Old Tom visited again, but this time he came with purpose. He sat near the wall and felt its steady heat with closed eyes. He admitted he had been wrong and said the wall reminded him of stories his grandfather once told. Stories of old houses built to hold warmth for days. Anna listened and nodded. Word of the wall spread beyond Pine Hollow. People from nearby towns arrived, curious and cautious. They came with questions and notebooks and measuring tools. Some came with pride and doubt mixed together. Anna welcomed them all with the same calm tone. She explained what she could without exaggeration. A group of builders asked if she would help them design similar walls. Anna agreed on one condition, that the work must be done with care and patience. She said the wall was not magic but understanding. Rushing would ruin it and shortcuts would fail. Those words surprised many who expected secret tricks. As weeks passed, several homes began building their own versions. Stone was gathered and plans were drawn by hand. People worked together, sharing labor and learning slowly. The town felt united in a way it had not for years. Winter still ruled, but fear no longer did. Children played near construction sites, watching stone rise layer by layer. They asked questions and listened to stories of heat and time. Elders shared memories of older ways once forgotten. Pine Hollow felt like it was remembering something important. Something steady and grounding. Anna noticed Lena, a young girl from down the road, visiting often. Lena watched the wall closely and asked thoughtful questions. She seemed fascinated by how heat moved through stone. Anna explained simply and encouraged curiosity. She saw herself in the child. One evening Lena asked why Anna moved to Pine Hollow. Anna paused before answering and then spoke honestly. She said she had worked in places where people depended too much on quick solutions. When those failed, everything collapsed. She wanted to live somewhere that valued lasting things. The heating wall became more than a tool. It became a symbol of quiet strength and shared effort. Town meetings now discussed long-term plans and preparation. People spoke of storing heat, water, and knowledge. Laughter returned, but it was kinder now. Not everyone welcomed the change. A trader named Mark argued that old stoves were faster and easier. He said the wall took too much time and effort. Some agreed with him quietly. Progress always brought tension. Anna listened without defending herself. One night another storm approached, though smaller than the last. This time Pine Hollow was ready. Homes with new walls stayed warm and calm. Others were welcomed inside without hesitation. Mark himself accepted shelter and stayed silent. After the storm, Mark approached Anna privately. He admitted he feared change because it made him feel unneeded. Anna told him knowledge grows when shared, not hoarded. She invited him to help improve designs for those who could not build alone. Mark agreed slowly. By mid-winter, Pine Hollow had changed its identity. It was no longer just a cold town surviving season to season. It became a place people came to learn resilience. Anna remained at the center, quietly guiding when asked. She never claimed credit. The fireplace wall that once caused laughter now stood as a lesson carved in stone. It taught patience, cooperation, and respect for simple truths. Heat was no longer something chased but something held. And Pine Hollow carried that warmth forward into the deepest winter. Spring arrived slowly in Pine Hollow as snow softened and sunlight stayed longer each day. The town felt different now, filled with quiet confidence. People walked with lighter steps and easier smiles. The fear that once followed winter had loosened its grip. Warmth was no longer uncertain. Anna stood outside her home one morning watching steam rise gently from nearby roofs. New heating walls stood inside many houses now. Stone chimneys were quiet and wood piles remained full. The town no longer raced against the cold. Instead, it moved in balance with it. The council invited Anna to speak at a gathering near the old hall. She did not enjoy attention but agreed for the sake of clarity. People filled the space carrying notebooks and questions. They wanted to know how to protect their future. They trusted her voice now. Anna spoke simply and without drama. She said survival was not about fighting nature but learning its rhythm. She explained that the wall worked because it respected time. Heat stored slowly stayed longer. Waste faded when patience returned. She reminded them that the wall was not hers alone. It came from old ideas shared across cultures and years. Knowledge was not owned by one person. It lived when passed on carefully. The crowd listened with calm focus. Old Tom stood and thanked Anna for changing the town without forcing it. Others nodded in agreement. Mark added that trade had shifted towards stonework and shared labor. Pine Hollow had found a new identity, one rooted in care rather than speed. As spring deepened, visitors arrived from far regions. They came to see the town that defeated winter quietly. Builders, scholars, and families walked its roads. They asked how laughter turned into learning. The answer always led back to the wall. Anna spent her days teaching small groups and guiding builds. She refused payment and accepted only help for others. She believed value grew when given freely. Her days were full but peaceful. She had found the life she wanted. Lena continued to visit and learn eagerly. She helped measure stones and record heat changes. Her curiosity grew into purpose. Anna encouraged her and shared every detail patiently. She saw Pine Hollow would be safe in hands like hers. One evening the town gathered for a shared meal outdoors. Fires burned low and laughter rose freely. The walls inside homes still held warmth from earlier fires. Children ran without fear of cold. The season felt earned. Anna watched quietly from the edge of the gathering. She remembered the laughter that once followed her work. That memory no longer hurt. It reminded her that change often begins alone. Strength sometimes looks strange before it is understood. The fireplace wall still stood inside her home unchanged and steady. It had never been about proving others wrong. It was about trusting knowledge and time. The wall did what it was built to do. It held warmth and gave it back. Pine Hollow would face winters again. Storms would return and tests would come. But the town now carried a deeper kind of heat. One made of shared effort and understanding. That warmth would last far beyond any season. Summer reached Pine Hollow with clear skies and gentle winds that moved through open windows. The stone walls inside homes rested quietly, storing memories of heat rather than heat itself. People still touched the walls out of habit and smiled. The town felt calm and prepared instead of relaxed and careless. That difference mattered. Anna noticed that even during warm days people still met to talk and plan. They discussed food storage, winter learning, and shared labor. The wall had changed how people thought about time. They no longer waited for trouble to act. They acted before trouble arrived. Children now learned basic building skills as part of daily life. They carried small stones and learned how weight and shape mattered. Elders guided them with patience and stories. Learning felt natural instead of forced. Knowledge moved quietly from hand to hand. Visitors stayed longer than expected, and some chose to remain. New homes were built with care and purpose. The town grew slowly but strongly. No one rushed growth anymore. Pine Hollow had learned that slow strength lasts. Anna often walked the edge of town at dusk, watching the hills glow. She felt content but not finished. She knew ideas must travel to survive. One town was not enough. Winter existed everywhere. A message arrived from a distant region asking for help. Their winters were harsher and fuel scarce. Anna read the letter quietly and folded it carefully. She did not answer right away. She looked at the town and thought deeply. That night the council met again and listened as Anna spoke. She said Pine Hollow could share knowledge without losing itself. Teaching others would strengthen what they had built. Fear of loss had no place here. The council agreed. Groups formed to travel and teach. Builders, writers, and learners prepared together. They carried plans, tools, and patience. Anna guided them but did not lead alone. Pine Hollow moved as one. Before leaving, Anna visited her wall one last time in silence. She placed her hand on the stone and felt its quiet strength. It had changed her life without noise. It would keep doing so long after she left. As travelers departed, the town stood ready. Walls waited calmly inside homes. People worked with confidence and care. Pine Hollow had become more than a place. It had become a lesson that would travel far. Autumn returned to Pine Hollow with golden leaves and cooler air moving through the valley. The town prepared early with calm confidence shaped by experience. Wood was gathered slowly and stacked with care. Stone walls were checked and cleaned. No one waited for cold to surprise them anymore. Anna returned from her first journey after many weeks. She brought stories from distant towns that struggled each winter. People listened closely as she described fear turning into hope. The same laughter she once heard followed her arrival there. She understood now how familiar that sounded. The towns she visited were different in size and culture, but winter treated them all the same. Fuel ran short and patience ran thinner. Anna showed them the value of stone and time. She taught without pressure and answered without pride. Slowly walls began to rise there too. Back in Pine Hollow, the children had grown taller and wiser. Lena now helped guide younger ones with steady hands. She explained heat flow with simple words and clear examples. Anna watched from a distance and smiled quietly. The lesson had taken root. Trade changed again as nearby regions sought stone and skill instead of quick fuel. Mark helped organize fair exchanges without rushing. He found purpose in building networks instead of profits alone. His fear of being unneeded faded into usefulness. Pine Hollow benefited from balance. One evening the town gathered as the first frost appeared on grass. Fires were lit early and walls began their slow work. Warmth spread gently through homes. There was no panic and no raised voices. Winter was welcome rather than feared. Anna spoke with the council again and encouraged rest. She reminded them that strength also needs care. The town agreed to slow travel during the coldest months. Knowledge had been shared enough for now. Roots needed time to deepen. Snow arrived softly one night, covering Pine Hollow in white silence. Inside homes warmth waited patiently within stone. Families slept through the night without worry. The difference from past years was clear and comforting. The wall had changed more than heat. Visitors still arrived even in winter, guided by stories. They were welcomed and taught as before. Pine Hollow became a place of learning rather than refuge alone. Its name carried meaning beyond location. It stood for preparation and patience. Anna spent more time writing during long nights. She recorded design stories and lessons learned. These records were shared freely. She believed memory mattered as much as stone. Forgetting was the true enemy of resilience. As winter deepened, storms came and passed. Each one tested the town and each one failed to break it. Laughter returned quickly after each storm. It sounded different now. It carried trust instead of relief. On the longest night of winter, the town gathered quietly. No speeches were made and no praise given. People simply shared food, warmth, and presence. The walls around them glowed gently with stored heat. That quiet glow said everything. Anna stood at her doorway watching snow fall under moonlight. She felt no need to leave or prove anything. Pine Hollow had become what she hoped. A place where strength was built slowly and shared freely. The fireplace wall had done its work. And as winter held the valley tight, the town rested warm and ready. Not because it burned more, but because it remembered more. That memory would outlast storms, seasons, and doubt. Pine Hollow would carry it forward patiently and without fear.